Hey everyone, how are you today? I'm out on my porch and it's a little bit windy and there are probably going to be cars, so I hope it's not too distracting. I wanted to get on and speak a little bit to Jupiter going direct. It's going direct, at least Mountain Time. It did it at about 11 a.m. and I'm really seeing a lot of the effects of it. Now, okay, so what does that mean, Jupiter going direct? That means it was in retrograde, and we've all heard about the Mercury retrogrades and they're going to mess up our computer and our phones. What it means when a planet goes retrograde is that it looks as if it's going backwards in the sky. It's not really, but that's just what it looks like. Therefore, what happens energetically is it comes more into us. It turns more inner, and we have to do inner work with whatever that planet is speaking to in whatever sign. I'm trying to make this as less complicated as possible because I try to speak as little astrology as I can so that it speaks to the normal human being who hasn't done hours and hours of research like I have. What Jupiter speaks to, and what this Jupiter retrograde has spoken to, is confidence, potential, what you think you can do, what you know in your heart you want to be doing, but you're a little scared of. And it's been in the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio speaks to the shadow, to your subconscious, to what you're really not wanting to look at, to diving as deep as you can into a fear and really figuring out what that is about. And so that is what these past months have been. On January 30th, I did a post speaking to this on this Facebook page. If you're on my Facebook page, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to my Facebook page, Susan Jensen Farmer. It's at Susan Jen Farmer to find it. And it spoke to what was going to be happening because we were building up to something in January. We were thinking we wanted to do something. We were trying to move on it. And then it hit. We weren't quite ready for it. We had to have these past 6 months to let it soak in us, or just, I can't think of the word. I can feel it, but the word is like, just let it course through us, maybe figure out some of the details. And now we're more ready to move on that. But what I'm seeing as far as clients and friends and family and people I talk to, because there's not only ever one thing going on in the sky, as we know. The moon's constantly moving, the sun's constantly moving, and these affect us depending on our individual instincts and wiring. So there's tons of stuff going on in the sky right now. It's been super intense, and it has been for a long time. Probably since about 2010, there's always things. And I believe this is probably preparing us for the next few years. There's a pretty big thing happening in January 2020. And I know that's 2 years away, but that's life, right? Life is a process. And to me, the process of life is getting good with ourselves so that we can be in relationships with anyone else, anything else, and be okay in them. Understand that we're good with us and be able to figure things out within us. That's what life is to me. And that is what you will always find my messages pertaining to. It generally will not be about other people. Okay, so what I'm seeing with this, and especially as what a planet does when it goes retro, is it slows down and goes backwards. That's the retrograde part. And then it slows down and starts coming forward. Well, that's where we are. It's slowed down, stopped in the sky, and now it's coming forward again. What I'm seeing is so interesting is that people, with everything going on in the sky, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this, but I have found it I call it like jumping to the smoke. So there's a fire, you're sitting by the fire, envision sitting by the fire, and the fire's in front of you, and it's bringing you warmth, sometimes too much warmth, whatever, but that's the fire. And then you have the smoke, right? And sometimes it's blowing in your face and making you cough, and sometimes it's going that way, but the smoke isn't the fire. The fire's the main thing. So to me, that's the soul inside. Sometimes I'm uncomfortable with my soul. Sometimes I'm okay. But lots of times I like to jump to the smoke so that I can forget or push off or not pay attention to maybe what's going on inside of me that's asking for change or acceptance. That is what I am seeing recently for the past few weeks with everything going on, because it's a hole, the sky is a hole, and Jupiter's now going direct. I'm seeing people jump to the smoke in relationships, in work, in so many different areas. I have clients and friends who I talk to on a regular basis, and they're having issues with, say, their partner, and they start a conversation, but it's like they jump to something else, and it's like squirrel over here. Now we're fighting about this. Let's bring it back here. What's going on? Or they're not even in a fight with a partner or whatever. They just feel uncomfortable. They don't know what's going on, and they're not bringing it back here to the real issue, to the fire. Some people are avoiding things. I've seen, breakups. That's Mercury retrograde as well. That's a lot of different things, but I've seen breakups where the issue was what's going on inside of me that I really have to look at. I've also seen people putting more emphasis. I live in the US, and so it's summer. So the school is out and kids are home for the summer. So I've seen people put a lot of emphasis on the kids and what's going on with them and how the schedules aren't working, because that changes up a lot in the summer. And there's something that they can let go of or look at differently, but they're keeping the focus on the kids and what they're doing. Or it's not working. That's really a hard time, the summertime. Anyway, so what's been going on for you? I can tell you, for me, I've seen this come to play. And it's so funny because I throw these posts out and I feel them and I understand them. But it's really awesome as I see them playing out with me. So in my chart, it's self-worth and where I make money. So I was really moving towards a business direction in January, kind of got a lot of things planned, and then bam. I've still done posts and whatnot, but I've really had to look at self-worth. Do I really want to do this? Do I want to be an astrologer? And how does it work in my home? For me, being a mom's like the number one thing, but my kids are getting older, so that's transitioning for me. So I'm seeing this play out with everyone. What is it? What have you done? What's been going on in the past 6 months for you since January that you kind of saw yourself moving towards, but then stopped, and it's kind of been percolating inside of yourself, and you've been thinking, do I really want to do this? Do I not? I'm seeing business become easier for me. I didn't think that would happen. There's also an eclipse in a couple of days in Cancer coming up, which is a redirection for anywhere Cancer sits in your chart. And for any Cancers, it's a big deal. So we'll talk about that coming up. But what did you want to do in January? What have you kind of put aside? And your soul inside has been still talking to you about it. So you've had subconscious thoughts. You've had to look at some really deep fears. You've had to wonder, am I going to fail? Am I not? You've had to get maybe a little bit experimental in pushing yourself to do something that is now maybe feeling a little easier, or like you could take some action on it. What are those things for you? What do you feel like you have maybe a little more hope in from January? Bring those things together. There's always going to be a ton of stuff going in the sky, and I can only focus on, you know, one or two here or there. So that's what I'm focusing on today, is the Jupiter retrograde going direct. And what has that been for you? Look at my January 30th post and think about it. Think about all the things I said there. Then take yourself through these last 6 months. It will give you direction. There's still hard things going on. There's always going to be hard things going on. Life is really not easy, and it will never be. But as you embrace all of you and who you are, and really take action to love yourself and listen to yourself, especially right now with this shadow stuff. Shadow stuff always goes on right here. It's like it's right here. And am I going to pay attention to it? Am I going to look? It's scary. Am I going to look? I don't know. It takes a brave soul to dive in and look. So take a few minutes, maybe jot some things down, or just think about it. I hope you all the best, and I will be with you soon to do another video like this. This was mine, like where I work, what I do, what I want to do. Do I have the self-esteem to do it? I really thought, like, who in the heck would want to listen to me? I don't know what I'm talking about. And now I'm hoping to move on it and really listen to my soul and my shadow and my fears, and maybe stop living in the smoke, stop making distraction for myself. Where are you doing that? Figure it out. The first thing that pops into your mind, write it down, jot it down, and then work on it for a week. That's easy, right? Okay, I wish you all the best. Mwah.